It's a quick sketch of Sanji that I did about a week ago, brothers and sisters. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram as I release these drawings, sketches on those two networks first.
One Piece, Chapter 57, If You Have a Dream.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the excellently written and woven tale of One Piece. Our last chapter left us with Sanji going into a flashback. You know, he basically had stood there and got his shit handed to him by Invincible Pearl, and really only did that because Gin had a gun to the back of Red Leg Zeff's head. So that's why he basically just let him beat him up and down the deck. At the end, he goes into this. He mentions the all blue, goes into a flashback, and essentially then it carries on into this chapter. And this entire chapter is actually a flashback. And it's cool though because it shows some character development, some building, and ultimately kind of how the relationship developed between Sanji and Zeff. So at the end of that, Sanji was a boy cook, a cook's apprentice on a ship. And the ship was being boarded by Red Leg Zeff, right? The pirate cook. So this starts out the same way it left off. Red Leg is there. He's on the ship and he's basically commanding everybody, take everything, grab everything of value, boys, that sort of thing. They say one of them also mentions, one of his pirates mentions, we got to kind of hurry because there's a storm coming. So a couple pages into it, and Sanji, you see Sanji, and he's like, I'm not going to let them take this ship from me, And a couple of his pirates are, again running around and trying to, pillage and rob everything of value from the ship. He then comes across he goes, what's this? And he looks and sees that one of his crewmen, one of his pirates, has taken some food. And he goes, he says, what the hell, what is this? And he says, oh, I'm sorry, Captain, my stomach. He's obviously hungry. And Red Leg just gives him the magical Red Leg kick of doom, knocks him on his ass, and then comes over and picks him up by his head, and he's holding him by his hair, and there's blood rushing down his face and everything, and he says he says to him, we don't eat other people's food. So that's his deal. That's for whatever reason or another, we don't eat others' food, and you need to understand that. You sea dog. Okay, Captain. And after he's been hit. So in the next panel, we see Sanji has grabbed two knives, kitchen knives, and he's ready to go. And this kid can only be like 8 or 10 years old at the time, so he's half as tall as the pirates. And they're like, it's just a boy with a knife. You better stop waving those around. And one of the pirates has already been cut. He's like, he cut me. It's pretty deep. So everybody's telling him, even the captain on that ship, the ship that's being raided, says, oh no, belay that, Sanji, and like, stop, don't do this. Just let him steal whatever. And then Zeff goes and Red Leg looks at him and he says, yeah, that's all right. If he's so eager to die, go ahead and give him his wish, kill him. So Sanji, even back then, was a smart ass and real headstrong. And he says, who the hell says I want to die? You're going to kill us anyway, but I'm going to kill you first. So he goes crazy and starts charging at him with the knives. And Red Leg gives him a boom, one of his trademark smashing sidekicks, and smashes Sanji, across to the other side of the ship, knocks him through some wood, and Sanji's just laid out. And everybody's going, yeah, get him, Captain, you show him, you show him not to mess with us. So the storm is picking up, and some of his crew members, again, are like, we really have to get going, Captain. This storm is getting really bad. And he says, yes, I know. And a big wave winds up hitting the ship and actually knocks Sanji, who's knocked unconscious, we can only assume, or definitely dazed from the kick of Red Leg, knocks him into the water. And the captain of the ship, and some of the crew members are, no, Sanji! So Red Leg goes and jumps up and just kicks with his magical kick, and I wish I had a kick like this because it would come in handy. And he just snaps the mast, one of the mast poles off, and it falls down in the water towards where Sanji went overboard. And Red Leg goes jumping in after him, kind of almost sliding down the mast, using it almost as a slide, this arm over to get Sanji. And even his pirates are befuddled. They're like, what are you doing? He's just a scurvy sea dog and this and that. He's not worth. He's worthless. Why are you saving him? And I think Redleg saw something in the kid too, because prior to him even getting kicked and everything like that, he was going on and on about the all blue and how he was going to find it, and they talked about that briefly in the chapter before. About this mystical sea or ocean that contains fish from all four of the oceans or the seas, and even some of the pirates kind of laugh at him, and they're like, it's we sailed the Grand Line here. There's no there's no all blue, and it's just a myth. It's a legend. But Sanji he's pretty, he's like, I'm not going to die on here from you crap pirates. And so I know I'm backtracking a little bit, but it just popped into my head that happened. So plus I'm doing the Comic-Con as well this weekend, Chicago Comic-Con, which I mentioned. So I'm going to have some videos up for that, but I'm trying to do extra work and get things done in between, before and after, spending time there as well. So certainly have a lot going on this weekend. So enough about that. Here's where the chapter, in my opinion, gets really interesting. It then takes us to a kind of a rock, this rock that's sitting, it looks maybe 20, 30 feet up out of the, protruding up out of the ocean, out of the sea. And it then goes in the next panel, zooms into Zeff sitting there. And so obviously Redleg went overboard to rescue Sanji, but never made it back onto the ship. We find out shortly thereafter, because Sanji wakes up, and he's immediately pissed off, of course, and we know kind of where he comes up with the crap geezer thing, because he he was calling them crap pirates, and of course he's the older guy that runs the pirates, calls him the crap geezer. But so Sanji makes some idle threats about bashing his head in. And and he's kind of, at first he's dazed. He woke up, he doesn't know where he is, and Redleg, he says, yeah, well, you've been out for a couple of days, and he's, I can't move, or having trouble moving. He said, of course, because I kicked you, with his trademark red leg kick. And what winds up happening is, he explains to him, he says, I don't think either one of the ships made it. Thankfully, I haven't seen any corpses wash up here yet, but wreckage has been coming in, and basically we're screwed. We're on this rock. This rock, the way that it's been carved by the waves, it's like a mousetrap. If you try to go down to fish, or there's no fruits or vegetables or anything on here, no animals. And if you try to get down to do any type of fishing or anything like that, you can't climb back up, because of the way that this thing has been carved into. With the waves have kind of carved it in. It's sort of this. I don't know, the way it almost looks like an upside down, like an acorn or an upside down pyramid sitting on the waves. So he says basically we're screwed, right? He then goes and takes and throws a small bag over by Sanji and says, I was able to grab this as I don't know if it washed ashore. He was able to grab it as he was going over the ship, and it's about enough food for 5 days. Longer if we use it sparingly. And Sanji's like, Sanji goes, hey, how come yours is so much bigger than mine? And he's like, you stupid boy. Or he goes, you have 3 times as much as me. And he goes, stupid boy. He goes, I'm an adult. You're a child. I eat more. I have a bigger stomach. So he then goes and tells Sanji and Sanji makes some more threats, idle threats, and he basically tells him, listen, it's not even worth fighting about over here. We need to look out and see if maybe we'll get lucky and there'll be a ship, and in the next day or two we'll see something. I'm going to go over on this side of the rock, and, I don't know, maybe it's 100 yards wide or 100 feet wide. It's not huge, not a big island by any means, but he says, I'm going to go to the one side of it. You stay on this side, and, don't holler, don't yell, don't nothing, because that wastes energy unless you see a ship. So they're going to, obviously keep watch on both sides. So we see, kind of some zoomed out shots and panning back and forth of them kind of sitting there. And then we see Sanji, and, he's replaying it in his head about the food will last for 5 days if we this and that. And he's just kind of sitting there with his knees to his chest and his head, down, thinking, oh, geez, I don't want to die here. That sort of feeling. And then we find out right at the end of the chapter, that I thought this was cool, we kind of find out how Redleg got the peg leg that he now has. This was clearly the end of Zeff's career as a pirate. He lost his ship and all of his men. And I don't know if he just went batshit crazy, or if a significant amount of time has passed and he's now starving and he's going to cannibalize and eat some of himself. I don't really know, but I know in the last pages there's a few panels, and the first one is kind of a zoomed out, and you can see the shadow of him holding a rock up and his leg kicked out, and then it goes into like this half-page panel, spread, and he's just like, and that's the end of old Red Leg. And boom! I mean, he just smashes this rock through his leg. This does kind of, as I said, it's a very nice, even though it was a whole flashback chapter, it was a nice developmental chapter and really gives us some insight into the first meeting between Sanji and Red Leg, and kind of starts to give us a little peek into why Sanji has such allegiance, to him. Because I think he feels responsible for maybe what happened and him, losing his leg, maybe his career as a pirate, his men, his ship, whatever the case may be. I guess we'll see that in the next chapter, but that's just my best guess, and why he has such allegiance to him, because he jumped in after him and actually saved him. So we will catch you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the like button if you think I deserve it, and certainly subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching you, though, in the next one, Nation.
As always, thank you for watching, brothers and sisters. Be sure to subscribe and take a look at some of my other videos. Thanks. See you next time, Nation.